Okay, so tonight I want to talk to you guys about something in particular, and I'm just gonna talk about it in my thoughts, my thoughts about it. What do I think about it? And I know you guys already heard about this before, but our verse for tonight, it's in James chapter 4, verses 6. I'm just gonna read it. So it says, "But he gives us more grace. That is why Scripture says, God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble." And one particular word that I want to focus on tonight, it's more towards pride. It doesn't say in the verse, but if you look at God opposes the proud. So proud is like, it's like the same thing as pride, right? And when you have pride, it's basically a road to destruction. It's a road to destroying your attributes, your character of who you are today. And that's the title, Pride, Road to Destruction. And I'm just gonna talk about it out of what I think about it, of what God thinks about it. And so pride, it's one of the most dangerous things as Christians, right? And we need to be aware and be careful of how we react to some things, how we act, right? Because pride is actually not from God. It's more towards what, the evil works wants, right? Because pride is more geared towards selfishness. And it's very dangerous, especially as Christians. And pride is very dangerous, and a very dangerous word, and is very dangerous to hold on, very dangerous to have as Christians too. And I'm not saying that Christians are the only ones who may have pride in our hearts, because we're human. It's basically everyone, right? And it happens to every single one of us. And probably you're thinking, what do you mean? I'm never have I been prideful. I mean, be honest, we all have like a teeny tiny bit of pride in our hearts is still considered pride, right? And you may not know that we're actually acting prideful, but we have moments where pride has struck us in our daily lives, right? I mean, it's easy to say that we don't contain it in ourselves, the pride, but in reality, we do have moments, even though we don't see it, right? And when we become too prideful, right, we become selfish, as I said before, in our thoughts and our decision making and how we view life, right? And one particular example I like to share that I could relate in the Bible that talks about pride is Samson, right? I know a quick run through Samson is he's one of the most powerful people, very invincible, because his power comes from his long hair. And it's interesting, and in your mind you're probably thinking, how does one's hair give power to a person, right? I mean, a lot of people you probably may be laughing about it, but it's true. It's a true story, and God gave him that gift. It was a God-given gift to give him that power that comes from his long hair, right? And short story of Samson. He was the most powerful. No one can defeat him. He was very invulnerable, and God was on his side, right? And he was invincible. No one can stop him. But the only way to stop Samson is to cut his hair short, or to just shave it off fully. Or maybe cutting it short may loosen his power, may make him more vulnerable in a sense. But how did that happen was when he realized of how powerful he was, right? He realized that he didn't need God on his side, because he thought of himself as the most powerful being on earth. So his pride consumed him. It settled in. So he was all like, you know what, God, I don't need you. I'm strong. No one can stop me. Like, who's gonna stop me? Because no one knows my weakness except me, right? But he eventually basically eats his words, because he meets a girl that was hired by the people who were trying to kill him, right? I forgot her name in the Bible, but she basically seduces Samson in a way that he gives in by telling her his weakness, right? Even no matter how many times she told him, what's your weakness, what's your weakness, Samson didn't give in. But until one day, he gave in. He told her that my weakness is for my hair. You have to cut it off so that way my power is gone, right? So he told the people who were trying to hunt down Samson his weakness. So when he was sleeping at night, she took the opportunity to cut his hair. And when they took him in, Samson realized that his power was no longer there, and God was no longer with him because of his pride and just so much of just thinking of how selfish he was. So God left him. And I feel like from that moment it was like a lesson for Samson to be taught, because even though you may be the strongest person, the most powerful person, if it's money, the most influential person, right? You still need God on your side, because if you don't, then you have pride that you don't need anyone on your side, especially God. So Samson learned a lesson when he was imprisoned, right? He asked God, right? He asked him, God, I'm sorry for being so prideful, but I need you right now. I need you to give me revenge or justice for what's going on. So he sacrificed his life. God gave him his powers again, so that way he may end the evil doings, right? To end them, and the saddest part is he died. So, but it does teach us something about Samson, is never be selfish. Don't be prideful, because if we do, then we become consumed, right? So, there are some things that what pride can do as us Christians, or to anyone in life. Honestly, the first thing is when you have that pride in your heart, you become like more self-centered. When I'm talking about self-centered, is like you're like egocentric. Like all you think about is yourself, and we become self-centered in our decisions and conversations with people. You think it's all about me. It's not about them, or it's not about, it's being self-centered. Being selfish is actually a sin, because if you become self-centered, if you become selfish, it's actually you're idolizing yourself, right? It's all about you. And our pride throws us off. It could throw us off, right? Like with other, it can it kind of ruins our mentality in life. And another thing is, when you have that pride in your heart, you become closed-minded towards everything. You're become narrow-minded in things. You believe that your choices and your beliefs they're right. It's always right, and while theirs is, you see their opinions is wrong, right? So that's when I'm talking about being closed-minded. Then when you become closed-minded and you always think to yourself, well, I'm always right. I feel like my ideas are better than yours. Then that's basically pride. Another thing is, you believe that you're right all the time, as I said before. And even though someone tries to correct you from your faults and your mistakes, but you don't accept them, you don't want to be corrected for what you did, what you have done, then that's also pride, because you don't want to be corrected. You're too high to think that, who are you to correct me? I feel like what I'm doing is right, but in reality what you're doing is actually wrong. And another thing, I feel like this is very important. Like, you thinking that when you have that pride, right, you think that you're better than that one person, you're better than anyone, because you view their accomplishments, their goals. You look at them and then now what happens? You envy them. You become jealous of what they accomplished, right? Now, so what do you say? Oh, I'm better than that person. I'm more better than that person. I think I could do better in everything I do. And with that mentality, that thinking is wrong, because I feel like for every single one of us, we shouldn't compare ourselves. We shouldn't think that we're better than one person. I feel like in reality we're all equal, because we all have different skills, right? You could be the best singer while this guy is the best drummer, and we're still the same. And we shouldn't compare, because everyone has different skills, right? So everyone is good at something. Just because this person is like is more talented on this one doesn't mean that you don't have to follow him. You have your own skills. So I think we should step out of that idea of like comparing things, comparing one person to another, comparing yourself to another, thinking that you're better. Because if you think you're better, then you have this thing called ego, right? You think, oh, I'm the best, like I'm number one. That's basically having that ego and having pride. So if we continue to be prideful, then we lose our Christ-like attribute, and then what we created is far more worse. Because I don't think when Jesus was coming, when he went here on earth, right, 2,000 years ago, I don't think he was like boasting about himself. He was being prideful. He was very, very humble in what he said and what he did. He came down on this earth as gentle, as loving, and he was like selfless. He didn't think about himself. All he think about was the people that he wanted to be with, which is everyone on earth, right? That's why he died on the cross, so he could save everyone. Not selective, but everyone on earth, including today. He wants to save everyone, including me, including you, including your friend, your parents, anyone. That's what the idea of being Christ-like is, being selfless, caring about other people rather than yourself, right? And I just want to close with a verse, in James chapter 4 verse 10, it says, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up." And the word humble, I feel like that's what we should aim towards, to be humble. Right? It's maybe hard to be humble because you're human, and just like it feels good to post about yourself, like, wow, I did this, and it feels good to see people of your accomplishments, right? I'm not gonna lie, it does feel good, but remaining in humbleness is the best choice, because that's a Christ-like attribute that Jesus showed 2,000 years ago when he was on earth, right? So tonight, that's basically it. A good reminder that never have pride in your hearts, whether it's big or small. Get rid of it, because if you still have it right now, if you still feel that pride in you right now, I suggest you remove it, because if you still have it, then there's a far dark path that you're going to right now. So that's it for tonight. I hope you guys learned something, because I did when I was learning about this. And let's just continue to be humble and just be selfless, care about others, love people, because there are a lot of people that need love right now, that kind of needs a friend or needs Jesus, you know what I mean? That's it for tonight.